Okay. Hello everybody, welcome back to room 15, and today we're pretending to be a booktuber. I just finished my very last final of my freshman year in college, so now I finally have time to record this video. I recently, in the past couple of months, have gotten really back into reading. It's been really fun for me. I think the reason I wasn't reading before as much is because I got into a bit of a rut with classic literature, in a sense that I'm an English major, linguistics, and I had the idea that if I was going to read, it had to be something super intellectual and old and boring and something I was not into. And I was just forcing myself to read those, and obviously didn't enjoy it, couldn't get through them. In a bookstore near campus, I picked up this book, The Convert by Stefan Hertzmans. And oh my god, did this book change my life. This book got me back into reading. Something about it really enticed me. It was actually first the cover that did it for me. It's why I actually bought this book in the first place. At Shakespeare & Co. I love that place. I would have lived in that place if I could. And I got this, and I'm so glad that I did because it got me back into reading, which makes this video possible. I have set the challenge of reading 50 books this year, which I have never done in my life, but I'm still getting into the habit of reading and completing books quickly. I am dyslexic, so I have a hard time reading quickly, but I'm getting better. Today I'm going to be talking about kind of my TBR. I don't know how long these are going to take me or if I'll get new books in the process, but these are the books I want to have finished by, at the latest, August. Here is the entire stack of books that I want to finish by August. I'm going to go through them today as a TBR, and I'm going to try to categorize them so more books go together. So I'm going to quick sort these out so they make sense, and then we'll go through it. I have a cat staying with me today as my roommate, and he's currently sitting at the very tippy top of my desk just watching me. Alright, let's get started. So the first one I've had for a little bit, it's The Omega Men. This is a Tom King work. Tom King is very divisive among the comic book community. A lot of people don't like his Batman run. I am one of them. Mr. Miracle and Vision by Tom King are two of my favorite comic books to ever come out. They are amazing work. I have read the first couple books in this collection. I don't know the last time I read anything Green Lantern. My brother is pretty big into Darkest Night. Is that what it's called? Brightest Day, Blackest Night. But I definitely will be finishing this. I am already very enticed, but I put it down for a while. So we'll get to this one soon. The next comic book I have here is Robin 80th Anniversary. I ordered this one off of Midtown Comics, like right when I came back from school. This is 100 pages of different stories collected from all the Robins. If you don't know, Tim Drake is my favorite Robin, and I wanted to get the 90s cover with him on it, but this is the only one they had. And I'm not too mad at this one. I'm excited to get into this one. I just haven't had the time to pick it up. And I'm going to move into the only sci-fi book I have on my TBR currently, and that is Tell the Machine Goodnight by Katie Williams. I read the first 15 to 20 pages of this. Often when I'm deciding which book to read next, I'll pick two and then read the first chapter or so, and then whichever one grabs me, I'll read that one. And this one lost out to another book. I will eventually finish it. It's about, from what I can tell, a woman who gives these kind of aptitude tests. They're a little machine that tells you something you can do to make yourself more happy, ranging from eating more tangerines to cutting off your fingers. But the machine's supposedly always right. She's navigating this landscape of her job and the toll that takes, and also her son who's having some troubles. It didn't grab me from the very beginning, but I feel as I get deeper into it, I might get more into it. The last sci-fi book I read really didn't do it for me. So I have to ease back into sci-fi and hope not to get tricked again. So if you want to hear more about the Society Lose the Time War and my very strong feelings about it, I might make a video about that in the future. The first book I have in the fantasy section is Kafka on the Shore by Haruki Murakami. This is the second book I have by the same author, and the first one is The Strange Library. The Strange Library is an interesting read. If you're going to read it, I would recommend getting the physical copy rather than reading it online. I tried to read it online, it's just not the same. Because the reading experience about it is the best part of the book. The story, in my opinion, is a little lacking, but it was a very unique reading experience. It takes the same kind of fantastical elements I've heard. It's like about 500 pages, which, I don't know, I usually read books around like the 300, 400 mark, so I don't know why this one specifically is intimidating for me, but I'll get around to this eventually. I'll just have to sit down and do it. So, Kafka on the Shore. The next kind of fantasy book I have is called Half Witch by John Scoffstall. John Scoffstall. Half Witch. Usually I don't read books like this that are straight fantasy. I believe this was on an NPR book list. The way I get most of the books that I want to read is through reading NPR book lists. A lot of these are on the 2019-2018 lists. I'm not sure if this was on that or just on Goodreads. It's a book about witches. I got this a while ago. Something about it enticed me. You know, it has all your typical fantastical elements in a witch type story. It's like goblins, criminals, dungeons, a girl named Strix with an X. I mean, what else could you want? What more could there possibly be? This one I'm interested because it might get me into a new genre that I haven't considered too much, but we'll see. And last in the fantasy sort of genre is Magic for Liars by Sarah Gailey. Okay, so a lot of these books I bought because my professor/advisor is kind of challenged me to a book read-off challenge, and this is a book that she's reading. I wanted to read it as well so I can talk to her because I'm a suck-up. It's been compared to Harry Potter, kind of like a darker, more noir detective thing. Follows a girl named Ivy Gamble. Apparently she's a liar and has a slight drinking problem. So I might pick this one up next, actually. Anyway, Agatha Christie. I read the first chapter or two on this. Well, I listened to it as an audiobook. And I was sort of enticed, but I feel like if I'm going to get into Agatha Christie, because I've never read her before, I should get the physical copy. Something about audiobooks for me, it's really hard for me to pay attention. I have both a hearing disability and ADHD, so audiobooks were just not made for me. Eventually I'll get around to this one. It isn't at the very top of my TBR. My professor also read this one, and she said she had issues with it. I can see why she could have issues with this, so we'll see how this one turns out. This is the one I'm currently reading. It won out between Tell the Machine Goodnight. It is about a woman who mysteriously gives birth to rabbits. Right up my alley. I don't know, something about the writing style reminds me of The Convert. It's a little lighter. It does have religious allusions to it. Maybe that's a theme that I'm interested in. Something about the time period, like, I don't like learning about it in school, but something about reading a story like this really does it for me. And I'm into it, and I like the cute little bunnies on the back. And the last kind of genre I have is nonfiction. I'm a linguistics major, so all of these books has to do with language and linguistics. And the first one I have is The Language Instinct by Steven Pinker. And I tried to read this a couple weeks ago, and I got through about the first chapter and put it down. And I know I have to read it and I have to get through it just to build my basics like I want to. Even Noam Chomsky liked it, so if Noam Chomsky liked it, I have to like it. I'm being really nitpicky about these books, but something about like the pages, they're like too thin. I'm like such a snob. The pages in this book are super thick and ridged, and I like that because they're fun to turn the page. But like these ones are really, I don't know what I'm talking about. This is the most pretentious video anyone has ever put on YouTube. It's all about how language forms worlds in our heads and how we see the world through how we interact with language, which is right up my alley, so I don't know why this isn't doing it for me. So I'll give this another chance in the next couple of weeks and see how it goes. Second to last book is All Art is Propaganda by George Orwell, the writer of 1984, which you may be familiar with. I bought this book specifically for one essay called Politics in the English Language. I got it in this collection just to see what other sort of stuff he's written. And one I'm particularly interested in called Can Socialists Be Happy? So we'll see. I mainly want to read Politics in the English Language, so but I might pick up a couple more just because I have it. So, and the last book is another book I'm currently reading. It's called Babel by Gaston Doran. I love Doran's writing style. I read a lot of lingo online in ebook format, which also doesn't do for me. And lingo is all about European languages, and this is about the top 20 languages around the planet, top meaning the most speakers. So if you have a strong grasp of these 20 languages, you could speak to over half the population of the planet, which is wild. But he goes through all of these languages with meticulous detail, but with an enticing writing style, and you don't have to have a basics in linguistics to understand and enjoy this book, which I really like. And it has a lot of pictures and graphs and words. If you're interested in linguistics at all, I would pick up either Lingo or Babel. Fantastic books. So these are all the books currently on my TBR. Hopefully I'll get through them by August. So leave a comment down below if you've read any of these and what you think about them. I am excited to get into these, and hopefully I can make videos in the future reviewing some of them. So let me know what you guys think, if you're into booktube, whatnot. I can talk more about reading and also disabilities and language and all that sort of stuff. That's it. Thanks for watching. This has been Room 15, now booktuber.